not sharing your SAM, but getting to your SAM. 7th period. Right here, our objectives I just covered with you. This is your textbook, but we have a hard copy, so we're going to use our hard copy. And then you're going to click on SAM textbook project. So click on that. We need to get the file that we're going to use. So you're going to go ahead and load the project. I know some of y'all take a while, so I'm going to give you a minute or two. We'll go ahead and go into the next step until you all get it downloaded, okay? Then right here, you're going to click on Start. Now, make sure it says you must use the SAM start file to receive credit for this assignment, okay? You must use this one, so that's why we're downloading it, okay? And also remember, this is not compatible with Office for Mac. You have to use Office for Windows, and that's why the school district gave you, or not gave you, but loaned you a Windows laptop to use to create these projects. Okay, so click on Start. This is the reading assignment. It's another link to it. And then this is the file you need. So click on the file that you need. It's going to download it. And once it downloads, you can click on it to upload it. And we will be finished with this screen for now. So just click on it to open it. Mine's going to open on another screen. So I'm going to drag it over. Okay. And then you're going to click Enable Editing if it asks you to do that, because we just downloaded it off the internet and they want to make sure it's safe. Okay. Everybody to that point? Need a second? I know it takes a while for stuff to download, and of course, it takes a minute for you all to open your Excel. My Excel was already open. So while y'all are loading that, I'm going to go ahead and set up my desktop the way I like it. We're on page 4-4. Okay, hold up your hand, stop sign if you need more time to get this downloaded and open. I see no, okay, a couple stop signs. All right. This assignment is fairly easy, but because we've been out of school for a couple of weeks, I want to make sure that you all remember how to use the textbook. Hey, Arnisha, we're on page 4 of chapter 4. We just downloaded our Excel file from Sam. So you're going to go to your Sam project 4. Hold on, I'm going to get to modules. You're going to go to Sam 4 textbook project, click on here, and then download the file. And then open the file once it downloads. Okay. Stop sign if anybody needs more time. I know that Arnisha needs a little bit more time, but she can catch up with this, okay? All right. All right, so now we've downloaded the file. Now we're going to go ahead and start working on entering the data, steps 1 through 9 on page 4. Steps 1 through 9. You do not have to follow along with me. You can work ahead, but make sure you stop at step 9. Don't work too far ahead yet, just so I make sure that you have it. Now, before we start on steps 1 through 9, did I skip a step on the first part? I did. It says to start Excel and create a blank work document in Excel window using the SAM thing. Step 2 says apply the droplet theme to the workbook. Y'all see that? Okay. See, this is what happens. We get distracted and we come back to our book and we forget. So always look at the blue part, the blue headings. It says apply a theme to a worksheet. Did I do that yet? No, I didn't yet. So let's do that. So a themes, droplet theme should populate on your document. Remember, you have to use your Windows laptop or Windows desktop. Droplet theme is not going to show anything different, but if you get to home and you click on your colors, your color palette is changed. That's the obvious thing to see. Okay, Select cell C3, not A1, but cell C3, and you're going to type in mortgage payment calculator. Then it wants you to select C3 to F3. And it wants you to merge and center it. Then number 3 wants us to apply a title style. So we're going to do the drop down over here under styles, the title style. Step 4 says to middle align. Now middle align is not center. Middle align is this button up here to make it middle from top to bottom in the center. Okay, the middle. Step 5 says select cell C4 and type in date. If you get behind, don't worry. Just follow along, and then there'll be time to catch up at the end of class, if not before, okay? So C4, you're going to type in date, hit enter, and then the next step says to select, step 5 also says to right align it. So we're going to go back up to it and right align it. Step 6 wants us to put in the date here. So we're going to put in the formula for the date. Now, close parentheses, open parentheses, close parentheses. It's going to put in the date. It's not the right date format. So it's going to tell us in step 7 to change that. So you're going to right click that cell, go to format cells. Then you're going to go over here to date. Now this one's 14 March 2012. So you're going to have to scroll down to find 14 March 2012. It is not 14 March 12. It's 14 March 2012. So go all the way down to here. 14 March 2012. Click OK. It puts us in there. Now number 9, step number 9 says enter the following text in the indicated cells. Well, on the next page, that's where the following text is in that table. So do y'all see that table? C5, C6, C7, C8. So that's what we're going to type in now. And this is a chance for y'all to get caught up a little bit, okay? So my goal is to record this, and then that way you all will have access to it. So I'm going to try to put this recording out there online for you all. Susie, on your new Windows laptop, right? Is that what you meant? Okay. And then Arnisha, we're doing chapter 4. Yeah, there's a droplet theme. Go back to themes again and try it again. It might not be in alphabetical order. Bobby, are you using the Windows laptop? Not the Chromebook. Okay, it's there. Make sure that you don't have office.com or anything up here. Make sure that you're using Excel. Do you have like a web browser up here at the top or no? Okay, it's there. Just go to page layout and themes. You'll have your basic ones here, and then you might have to scroll down to find it, but there's Droplet. Okay, see Droplet? And sometimes it doesn't show them all at the first time you use it. So if it doesn't, then click off of it and go back into it. Okay. That happened to Aaliyah yesterday. Honor, I'm on page 4-5, that table at the very top. I just typed in the information off that table. Yes, ma'am. The cell styles? Okay. So on the cell, I clicked on the cell, and then on home, you go here and do the drop down and go to title style. You see it? Okay. Good questions, guys. 7? Yeah, that's right, because it's the 14 March 2012 is just an example, but today's date is really the 24th. It just is kind of random that we're in March and the book's in March too. Okay. Honor, you got the answer to your question? Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. The next section in blue says to adjust the column widths and row heights. So all we're doing is column widths and row heights. We already know how to do this. So I'm going to go kind of quickly through steps 1 through 5. So step 1 is column A and B. It wants us to make it 0.85 width. Now this is where having a mouse comes in very, very handy. If you do not have a mouse, then use format over here and then go to column width. And then you can type in 0.85 after you select the columns. Okay. Then step 2, it wants column C at 12. So I'm going to click on column C and make it 12. And then step 3 is column D, E, and F. So column D, E, and F, it wants us to make it 16. Now, step 4 wants us to do rows 1 and 2. So rows 1 and 2, we're going to click and drag 1 and 2 to select both of those. And then it wants it 8.75, or 8.25, my bad. Now, again, if you can't get it to 8.25 because you're using a touch tablet or touchpad, remember you can go to format here when you have the cell selected, and you can go to row height, and you can type in 8.25 that way. Okay. Clicking and dragging is quicker, but there's usually more than one way to do everything. Okay, so that finishes page 5. If you think I'm going a little fast, I am, because some of this is pretty easy stuff. And I need to be on page 20, hopefully, by 11. So I'm getting ready to pick up the pace a little bit more and have y'all just watch me. But I need you to do these next 2 steps before y'all just watch me and finish later. Okay, on page 6, we're going to change the sheet tab name. So down here on the sheet tab, we're going to double click it to highlight the sheet 1 name, and we're going to change it to mortgage payment calculator. Calculator. And then hit enter, and then it puts that in there. And then the last step I want you all to do with me, and then y'all are going to pay attention to the rest of it and then do it later, is changing the name, saving it on your computer. So we're going to go to File, Save As. Now, if you're using your Windows laptop, then just put it in your Documents folder. It's easier to upload and all that stuff from there. So Documents. Now we've got to change the name of it because it shouldn't have a number at the end of it, and it shouldn't say New Microsoft Excel Worksheet. So I'm going to delete all that off. And I'm going to type in SC underscore EX underscore 4 underscore mortgage underscore my name, and then I'm going to get rid of anything at the end of my name. So the space and then that number in the parentheses, I'm going to get rid of it, and I'm going to click on save. Now I'm going to get an error message because I already have one saved under with that name, but you shouldn't get an error message because this should be the only one saved with that name. Okay? So you all do all of those steps up to that point. Okay? Okay, everybody have yours saved? At the very least, even if you don't have all of the data typed in correctly yet? Yeah, Aaron, for sure. I'll be here until 5:30. Today's my tutoring day. Okay, now the rest of it, I want you all just to watch me do, and then y'all can go back and do it from 11 to whatever time it is, 11:30. And if you don't have a chance to finish it, then y'all can finish it for homework, okay? All right, so we're going to start on page 6, paying attention to me. Don't try typing, just pay attention to what I'm doing. And we're going to format cells before entering values. So we're going to select some cells and we're going to format them. So CS D6 to D8, D6 to D8, and then control button down, F6 to F8. And we're going to right click and create a cell currency style. So we're going to go to format cells, currency style. And it wants us to use the negative numbers in parentheses with red. So it's the fourth one down. Click OK. Nothing changes because we haven't put numbers in yet. Okay. So that's steps 1 through 4 on page 6. Page 7, I'm going to enter the loan data now. So I'm just going to put in some data. Item is a house. So I'm going to right align it by clicking the right align button here. And then I'm going to type in the word house. Hit enter. And then D5, step 3 and D6, we'll type in 519,000. Enter. 115,000 is step 4. And then F4, which is on the next column over here, we're going to put in 3.875 and then the percent sign. And hit enter. Now, it changed it to 3.88. So step 6 says select cell F4 and if necessary, click the increase decimal button to increase the decimal places to 3. So I'm going to click on that. So now I have my 3.875%. And step 7 says we want to make our term 15 years. So we're just going to type in 15. We're not going to label it years because it'll mess up our math later if we have a word in there with it. Okay? That's page 7. Page 8. Page 8, we're going to create names based on our row titles. So in Excel, this is called D6, and this one's called D7. But what is this? This is our price, isn't it? This is our down payment. This will eventually be our loan amount. This is actually our rate and our term and our monthly payment. So what we're going to do is we're going to name these cells using a program that is already built into the computer, defining our names. So we're going to select C6 to D8, and we're going to go to our formulas button, and we're going to create from a selection. So we already have the names here. So instead of actually naming it, we're going to use the names that we already have to define the name. So we're going to click create from selection, and our left column is where our names are. So D6 is going to be called price, D7 is going to be called down payment, and D8 is going to be called loan amount. So I'm going to click on OK. Now when I click on D6, it says price. See in the name box? In D7, it says down payment. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing over here. And that is step 2, F4 to F8. Wait, E4 to F8, if I can read correctly. And then we're going to also create from selection. So this is going to be our rate, our term, our monthly payment. So left column is where the names are at. So click OK, and it puts it in there. So now if I click on this cell, it says term. If I click on this, it says total cost. Okay. Super important also if we're naming them individually that we put the underscore in there. Okay. And we'll do that later on. I don't know if we're going to get to that today or not. Okay. So we've named all of our cells. So we've done all of the steps on page 8. Page 9, we're going to enter a formula. Okay. Now our formula here for our loan amount is simple. It's our price minus our down payment, and that's how much more we're going to have to borrow. The house costs $519,000. We're paying $115,000 down payment, so we're going to have to borrow this loan amount here. So we're going to put in equal, and then the P. That pulls up a list of different things that are named with P, and we're going to find the one that says price. Not this one because that's a function. This one is a label. That's what that little picture is a label. So price, and then minus our down payment. So I'm going to put D for down payment, and then I'm going to find D for down payment. Now, could have we put the cell names in instead? D5 minus D6 or D6 minus D7 or whatever. We could have, but the thing is our formulas and our Excel spreadsheet get more complicated. It's a lot easier to use names because we already know our loan amounts are price minus our down payment. Okay, so that's just a little bit more helpful. So we enter and we have $404,000 we're going to borrow. Okay, so that is steps 1, 2, and 3 on page 9 and 10. Now we're on page 11. Now 11 is when we get to the little bit more nitty gritty. Now, to figure a payment, a monthly payment, it's the rate and the period and the loan amount that we need. The rate, the period, and the loan amount. So in our formula, the way payment works is if we don't put a minus sign, it gives us a negative monthly payment. So up here on the formula bar, not in the cell, we're going to use the formula bar instead, so we don't have to type in the equal sign. We're going to type in payment, and then our first part is the rate. So I'm going to put a parentheses, and then it shows right here, rate. So our rate is 3.875%. So we're going to type in the word rate, because that's the name the cell is named. And then we have to divide it by 12 because that's our annual percentage rate. 3.875 is our annual percentage rate. So we have to divide that by 12 to find out what our monthly rate would be. Then we're going to type in the comma. And then our term, we're going to pay for 15 years, but we're not paying 15 payments. We're paying it for 15 years. So we have to type in 12 times, because there's 15 months in a year, 12 months in a year, and then times our term, which is 15 years. Now I'm double clicking the words. That's what's putting it in there, okay? So now our term. And then the last piece it wants is the loan amount, our future value. Or a present value, my bad. And our present value is the loan amount, $404,000. So I'm not going to click the cell. I'm going to type in loan amount. And then I'm going to double click it so I don't have to type the whole thing in. And then close parentheses. And then hit enter. Now in your book on page 11, it doesn't show the open parentheses and close parentheses or a close parentheses. So make sure that in your book you put the little close parentheses then at the end of loan amount. Okay, it's a typo. Okay, so now we have our monthly payment, $2,963.10. It's a lot of money every month, but our house is a very expensive house. Okay, so that takes us to page 13 now. Page 13 is we're going to find out the total interest and total cost. How much interest are we going to pay over the 15 years? And how much total cost are we paying? Because we borrowed $404,000, but that's not what we pay. We pay way more than that because we have to pay interest every month too. So we're going to figure out these. So F7, we're going to put in the formula, which is simple. It's our total, or it's 12 times our term. So that gets the number of payments, right? And then times our monthly payment minus our loan amount. Whoops, that's not a time sign. Times our monthly payment minus our loan amount. Okay, and hit enter. And that gives us $129,357.22. That's how much interest that the bank is going to make off of all of us. Okay, now what's our total cost? Well, our total cost is the price plus the interest. So that's easy to figure. We'll just type in equals price plus and then total interest. That's our total cost. So the loan for $404,000 is actually costing us $648,000. That's how banks make money. Okay? That's how banks make money. How did I format the cells again? Okay, Victor, ask me that question a little bit later, okay? All right, step number 13. Step number 13 wants us to change it. So instead of buying a house, it wants us to buy a condo. So we're going to type in condo. I'm just going to put condo. I can spell condo. And then $200,000 is how much the condo is going to cost. And our down payment is only going to be $50,000. And our interest rate is going to be 4.125%. So our loan amount is $150,000, but we're paying over $100,000 extra. Total interest. We're paying extra $251,000 in our cost, in our total cost. Okay, so that gives us a way to do it. And then also our monthly payments of $1,118, which is way, way less. Something's not jiving here. Oh, I know why. Here we go. 10 years. There we go. That's why I was a little confused, because it's like my numbers aren't matching up. So that's what's up with that. Okay, so 10 years. Okay, so now it wants us to go back and change it to back to house. So we're going to type in house. And then 519,000. 115,000 down payment. And 3.875% for 15 years. Okay, so now the next thing it wants us to do is it wants us to use an analysis, a data analysis. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in the interest here and find out what would happen if we had different interest rates. So we're going to do C9. Type in C9 right here. And we're going to type in varying interest rate schedule. I'm on page 16. And then it wants us to format paint. So we're going to click on the cell C3. And I need to go to my home button to get to Format Painter. And then I'm going to click on here. And I spelled schedule wrong. There we go. Varying interest rate schedule. Let's see here. And then in cell C10, it wants me to type in rate, monthly payment, and D10. In E10, it wants me to type in total interest. And in total cost.
I had the wrong time.
Oh, what's the time?
The 3.
Oh, okay.
So it's the end of 9th period.
And then
you'll be missing part of your 5th.
Okay, that's fine. That'll work. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Sorry about that.
Oh, not a problem. Okay, so total costs in column F. All right. So now we're going to try to find out what the interest rates are. So on page 17, we're going to start typing in some interest rates. 3.0%, 3.125%. Whoops, I didn't put the percent sign, did I? 3.0%. There we go. 3.125%. Okay. Now I'm going to click on those two cells. And let's see here, what step am I on? I'm on C12 and C13. Step number 1 still, the third bullet. And now we're going to use our fill handle and we're going to drag all the way down to 4.25%. Can you make it different interest rates? Yeah, you could. Okay. Okay, Carlos, tell her that I'm planning on recording this so she can work. Okay. Make sure that she's clicking on 7th period too, okay? Maybe she needs to reboot her computer and try it again. Thanks for letting me know, Carlos. So I drug down to 4.25%. So now I have the data in there. Now it wants us to have 3 decimal places. So I still have these all selected. So I'm gonna click on decimal places and go to 3 decimal places. Okay, now it wants me to click D11 to deselect the range. So that's page 17. Page 18. Dun, 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 dun. Now we're going to enter formulas in the data table. So this is our data table. So we're going to put some formulas in there. And you know what? I think I did this wrong. Yeah, I did. I need to insert a row. There we go. I accidentally started on D11. I was supposed to start on D12 with this. Okay, so monthly payment. Here in D11, we're going to put in some information. So if you'll look on page 18, it says with D11 active, we want to type in equals F6. So that puts in our monthly payment that we currently have. And then our total interest is F8. So in F11, we're going to put equals F8. And then what's the total cost? F6, F7. Whoops, this is F7. I'm looking and getting myself distracted here. And then this one is F11, so it's going to equals F8. These are steps 1, 2, and 3 on page 18. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go to page 19, and we're going to define the range as a data table. Okay. So now we have our information. We have our monthly payment, our total interest, our total cost, and we have our percentages. Now we also have our rate here that determines this. So we're going to do some what if analysis. Y'all remember doing what if analysis before? Yeah, okay, so that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to select our data that we need to do our what if analysis on. I'll go over here to, I always forget where it is, under data. And then our what if analysis. And then we're going to go to our data table because we have a table, data on it. And then here's what we're going to put in our column. Now our column is this. And our interest rate is up here. So we're going to go to our column input cell, and this is our interest rate. So I'm going to click on that. It should make it an absolute reference. If it doesn't, make sure you put the dollar signs there. And then click OK. And then automatically fills in all of the monthly payments and the total interest and the total cost based on the interest rate. Okay. Now let's go ahead and do some formatting. So we're going to go to D12 to F22. So D12 to F22, and we're going to format currency style, no currency symbol, currency style, no currency symbol, and we're going to use the negative sign in red with parentheses. There we go. Now it's all pretty and easy to read. Okay. Now, what interest rate are we using? 3.875, right? Well, that's this row right here. This should match what we have up here. What if we change the interest rate here? Then our monthly payments will change here, but we can also look at what 3% interest would be. It's almost $30,000 less in interest over the time of the note by just reducing it by almost a whole percentage point. So that's why people are always freaking out about interest rates, because it really, really makes a difference. Okay.